What's up, Kim? How are you, girl?
What's up, April? How you doing, girl?
I'm awesome. Thanks for coming on tonight. I've been thinking about you a lot, and I was like, we need to have you on. Amazing to see you. You look gorgeous. All your bling and your shirt, Rocker Chicks Rule, is very, very
Oh
important for
yeah.
people to see that. And already, Patty Driver is like two chicks who rock, and Mark Noble is here. Everybody's excited. We're here to have a good time. So
Oh, that's great.
I'm looking forward to talking to you about all this stuff. So, I love to have my fellow musicians on the show just to chat about their history in music because, like, I've known you for like 10 years or something. I've known you a long time. I think the first time I met you was at a metal shop show, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah. And so it's been many years, but we've hung out a lot. We've had dinner together. Like, we're friends. But never have I heard, like, the history. I love you, man. Never have I heard the history of Kim Lusk. So I'm really excited to hear that. So, Kim, take us back to your childhood and tell us what led you into music.
Hmm. Let's see. Well, my home was all, my parents always had music playing in the house. They love music. They were into the Beatles and Motown and all kinds of music. They always had music playing. There's always a radio on or and I remember being about 5 years old and my parents had this organ in our living room. It was really cool. It's like one of those church organs, like a double decker thing, right? And I don't remember what kind it was, but I started playing the song Lean on Me. And my mother asked me, who taught you how to play that, Kim? And I was like, nobody. She said, come on. I was like, no, nobody. She said, well, how did you know how to play that? And I said, I don't know. I just started playing it. She's like, So
Wow,
from that
that's
point,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, it was just, I can't explain it, right? And so I used to piddle around with that thing. And my grandmother, would play a little bit, but, and my mom, she took piano lessons. So my mom was, into music. So she was in choir. She played in the band in school. My dad was in choir when he was in school. My grandmother sang in her church choir for like over 50 years. So she's got music in her bones. My great grandmother taught piano lessons. And so I never took piano lessons. And now I'm regretting that. So
Oh, I know. That's like one of
I
those
wish I had.
instruments. Yeah, that's like one of those instruments that like you always look back and think, I wish I would have done that. I'm the same way. I have a piano behind me, but I can't play it, but it is helpful because like if I'm trying to harmonize something, I can go figure out, what sounds best by playing it on the piano. Because I
Yeah.
can figure out that kind of thing. But so you sat at that organ and you just started playing it. Like were you playing like two hands or were you just kind of playing the
Just
melody?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one, it was like dun 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 dun, and I
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
figured it out.
Right.
And I didn't want to take piano lessons. I don't know. And so I think I started out with the gift of an ear, and I remember my mom talking about, when she was in band and things like that. So around fourth grade, I remember at school, they were talking to us about playing in the band. And I thought, hey, you know what? I want to do that. And believe it or not, the first instrument that I said I wanted to play was the drums.
Heck yeah, dude! That's right! Yes!
I was like,
Yes!
I want to play the drums. And, I was a tomboy growing up big
Uh-huh.
time. So it was like, I wanted to do what the guys were doing, right? So I thought, man, it'd be cool to play the drums. And my mom's like, wow, that's going to make a lot of noise.
She's like she's like, That's really a nice idea, but here's the organ again. Check out the organ. Look at that for a minute. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So,
So it's
like,
kind of like,
was it like
hmm.
a drum set that you were interested in when you first kind of got the fire for that, or was it like percussion at school, or what was it?
It was, a little bit of both. And so, long story short, I ended up playing saxophone. My mom played saxophone and she was telling me about it. And I thought, okay, that sounds cool. Cause it was like drums, no, cornet, trumpet, nah, it's gonna do that little funny thing to my lip. No, flute, nah, I don't want to play that. It was like, wait a minute, sax, that is cool. My mom was cool, man. She played the saxophone. All right. We
Sax
can
is a
do
very
that.
I love saxophone. My dad played saxophone and I that's a great instrument. That's one of my favorite instruments for sure. So you played
Oh
sax?
yeah. Yeah, I played alto sax. So I started that in fifth grade.
Uh-huh.
So I went from fifth grade to ninth grade, and then, you know, ninth grade was junior high, what we called junior high back in the day. I'm dating myself. And when I got to high school, I decided, I think I want to play guitar. That's cool. I was into like the whole rocker thing, and some people ask me, "How long have you been into rock music?" I'm like, all my life."
Yeah, no doubt. Well,
Elton John was like my favorite. I was singing Elton John songs before I was forming sentences. Okay,
yeah,
so loved
that's
Elton John
Alan
from the
John's
time I was knee
awesome.
high to a duck.
Yeah, I
Yes,
remember when Rocket Man came out. Well, not when it came out, but when I
yes,
finally watched it, I was like, dude, and you're like, dude, it was so awesome. Oh my gosh, love that movie.
it was.
Well,
Oh my gosh, it was awesome. And
yeah.
the movie was great. And then I saw him in concert on the last tour. That was my first time getting to see him. That was an emotional experience, but we'll get to that.
So
So
awesome.
so it was kind of like going to Mecca for me. But so I played saxophone, got to high school, and decided I want to play guitar. So I started playing guitar by ear, and decided, I've always been interested in bass. Let me just transition to that. And a lot of great bass players, and a lot of my couple of my favorites, are guitar players that are basically bass players, right? And so I thought, that could be a great transition. And besides, I like the bass, like that groove, right? So I talked to a couple of friends of mine that played, and back in the day, we had MTV, but we didn't have YouTube and all the stuff that we have now. So it was basically I started out plucking one string at a time, and when I go to concerts, I was like fixated on the bass player, like watching everything they did. I would record stuff on MTV, and I'd play it back and watch. Or if a friend of mine was playing or had some free time, I'd say, "Hey, can you show me a few things, or can you give me some advice or whatever?" And my bass mentor, his name is Mark Salas. He's from my hometown. Great bass player. He's toured with some bands and things like that. And I would babysit his basses when he was gone, but showed me a few things. And I was so worried about, wow, my the way other bass players play, I don't play like that. And he said, "You know what? You do what's comfortable for you. If it sounds good, that's all that matters. If you feel it, that's all that matters. Never forget that." And so I took that to heart, took off with it, and just never looked back. And I remember going to see Iron Maiden. It was my first concert, and I saw Steve Harris. And I remember looking up at him going, "Oh my God, that's what I want to do." I was like 12, about to be 13. And I remember that like it was yesterday. And I was like, I want to do that. That's what I want to do.
And man, what an awesome person to look up to as far as bass goes. I mean, Steve Harris is amazing, and
Oh
Iron
yeah.
Maiden's awesome as well. But did you find when you were like, since you went from alto sax to bass guitar, did you find that helped you kind of musically to have an understanding for music?
Definitely, because I was doing, I went through the rudiments of music, music theory. I did marching band, I did jazz band. I actually started the jazz band at my middle school because we didn't have one, and I wanted to do that. And I actually picked up a bass at that time that nobody was playing, and I was like, "Hey, do you guys mind if I take this home?" And they're like, "Oh no, as long as you bring it back." So I was like, "All right."
You're like, I'm in, dude. That's
Yeah,
so
so we started a
awesome.
jazz band. I played saxophone in that.
Uh,
But it was just one of those things where I think I just wanted it so bad. I wanted to play, so badly. I had just the desire and the passion for it, that it was like, I'm determined. I'm going to do this. I'm gonna do it. But transitioning from, in music theory, you learn all the rudiments
yep.
of music. So I'm glad that I had that. And reading music for me came very easy. So I started. Sorry about that. So I started. Looking through the theory for bass, because saxophone, that's treble clef, bass is bass clef. And so studied all of that while I was in band early on. So the transition was easy, but what came easiest for me, April, was actually playing by ear. And in fact, although I can read music, I choose not to, but if I need to, if I'm learning a part or whatever, I'll look at tab or whatever, and I'm able to understand it, but I play best by ear, which is really interesting. So I used to get my sax out and I would play like, the solo for Rio by Duran Duran, or other
Oh, that's
songs,
awesome. I
things
would
like
die to
that.
see you play that. That would be so cool. Do you still have a saxophone today?
I don't.
Really?
No, I don't. We sold it a long time ago, so I don't have it anymore. And I haven't touched a saxophone in, probably, gosh, over 30 years, probably.
Wow, really? That's crazy. I don't know if you saw the interview with Christy Johnson, but she started out on French horn, and I played French horn also. And so it's
Did
just
you
kind of funny.
really? I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
I played cornet, and then I went to French horn. And then I guess probably, God, I don't remember when it was, 15, 20 years ago or something. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go buy a cornet and just have it. So I have a cornet, and sometimes I'll pull it out and I'll just be like, playing taps or something.
Oh, that's
I'm like,
cool.
I'm like, I need to learn some of those like cool, like, you know, bands that are out there that have like horns and stuff in it. That'd be
Mhm.
so funny to do something like that. But
That'd be cool.
I love having instruments around, so I'm kind of weird like
Yeah.
that. But I
I
do,
thought about getting a saxophone.
yeah.
We had one because David, my husband, played sax. He played tenor sax. I played alto sax. And we had one, but he traded that out for a sitar. So we don't have the tenor sax anymore.
Gotcha. Yeah, the sitar is a whole nother story, man. That could be a
Yeah.
whole separate interview. I should get David on
Right.
here to talk about all that stuff because that stuff's intense and show
Yeah.
everybody that. I want to point out that Patty Allen Driver is saying that you didn't want to play lesson or you didn't want lessons, you just wanted to play. And she
That's
also
right.
mentioned that I think she's talking about that saxophone. She said it's really nice and it was donated to Kids Who Rock Camp. Is that right?
What's that?
She says that something was it says it was really nice and it was donated to Kids Who Rock Camp. I don't know if it was talking
Oh,
about a sax.
oh
So
no, no.
oh, okay.
Mine's been sold a long time ago. Now,
Okay.
if I had it, I probably would.
Yep.
Definitely, Patty, I would.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I think
Patty's
she's
awesome.
saying that she wants to have a sax for you to play at Kids Rock Camp. I think that's what she's saying.
Oh, oh, cool. Okay.
That would be
Hey,
cool,
Patty,
man.
we can make that happen, girl.
Yeah, and
I love her. She's
she
amazing.
she's awesome, and just so everybody knows, Kids Rock Camp, look it up on Facebook. Such an amazing organization. Everything they're doing there is really cool.
Absolutely.
All right, so now you've got a bass. You've started to play bass and figure things out. You have like a mentor that you're kind of following the steps of that you met long
Yeah.
ago. Steve Harris is really kind of getting you fired up. So, do you remember like what was the first song you ever learned on bass? Do you even remember?
Yeah.
You have to tell it now.
Yeah, I know. Like, I gotta put that out there. Yeah, it's funny because I borrowed so many bases, and then eventually my dad, I told my dad, hey, I want to get a bass. He said, great, go get a job. I was like, okay, done. Went and got a job the same day. Put a bass in layaway with $5. $5
Nice.
layaway.
Like, hey,
Oh
I'll
gosh,
pay it off, man. I'll use my
I'll pay
lunch
it off.
money.
I'll do whatever I have to do.
That's so
So
awesome.
he got it out of layaway for me for Christmas,
Uh-huh.
and I still have that bass. I still have my very first
Oh, I
one.
love that.
Yeah. So I got that, and it was like I played that thing till literally I think about Brian Adams. Played it till my fingers bled.
Right.
I couldn't touch anything. Those bass strings are kind of thick when you're not used to them, and it's like ah. But my first song, I was so proud, was Another One Bites the Dust.
Ooh, that's a cool one to figure out though, because that's got like
Yeah.
a very definitive bass line. You're just like do 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 do. I mean, that's a cool one
Yeah.
to really get into the groove of. That's
I thought it was all
awesome.
cool. I remember
Yeah.
wearing shades in my room. Like
You're like, I rock. No one knows it yet, but I rock, man. It's happening. That's so awesome. So about the first band that you got into, how old were you when that happened?
oh, jeez. Um, you're taking me way back. Let's see. I was what 16, maybe. Trying to think. I was driving. That I remember. Um, 16, 17, maybe. Yeah,
Cool.
something around there. Because I started actually playing bass, or started out at 15. It kind of took me a while to get my bearings, and I'm not saying I was
Right.
good.
Well, you got to start
Just
somewhere, you know?
yeah, it was like, hey guys, let's play some easy stuff.
I could do another one bites the dust over and over again. It'll be fun. Come on.
Yeah, yeah. I think we knew like 5 songs.
That's awesome. So, what kind of music were you guys playing, and what was the name of the band? Tell me all about the band.
Okay, so we ended up playing one party, and that was it.
Funny.
Our singer ended up, she had a jealous boyfriend, so I actually ended up giving my bass to someone else to play bass, and I ended up singing. So I ended up singing, what was it? Barracuda. I sang Queen of the Reich. I sang
Oh yeah,
Run of
nice
the
mix.
Hills. These are all the
Nice.
stuff the guys couldn't sing. So we ended up playing a party, and that was pretty much the end of it. The name of the band was Amethyst.
See how fun that is to remember, though. And see, we're gonna have to
Yeah.
have you dig up some photos and we'll have to include that somehow with this interview somewhere.
I'm kind of like, it's a good thing we didn't have cell phones back then.
I know, right? We'd have all these goofy pictures of us with big hair
I
and whatnot.
know,
Crazy.
right?
So after that, what was the next band that you played in that was maybe gigging? When did you start gigging?
Oh, wow. I really didn't start that gigging until, let's see, trying to think, because I just fiddled around for a while, and it was really hard at that time for a girl that plays bass. It's kind of like nobody really took it seriously. So I would just see, friends, bands, and just play at home, learning stuff and things like that, right? Which, I was fine with, because I'm like, well, I need to get better before I'm comfortable really doing something. Playing somebody's house party is one thing, but you know, I had bigger aspirations, of course. And so when I graduated from high school, I started working, and, because I was saving up money to go to college, and I moved to Denton to go to North Texas, go Mean Green. And I really didn't start playing again in a band until then. So I was in an 80s cover band called Stoned Possum.
Yes, that's so
Bruce Hall.
awesome. Stone Possum. So when you were going to UNT, were you going for music at UNT? Were you going for a music degree?
So when I transferred, I was actually I transferred in. I wanted to get into the music program, but I decided, I think I want to take a different path. I wanted to get into sound engineering, but
Oh,
UNT didn't offer a program like that. And my parents were like, "There's no way you're going to the Art Institute in LA. No,
yeah.
that's not going to happen." So I ended up majoring in business. I have a hospitality management degree, so it's hotel and restaurant management, which was fun because I was actually working in that industry, and helping pay for my school. So I decided, I think I definitely want to keep music in my life, but maybe in a different kind of way, right? So I lived in Bruce Hall, which was where all the musicians lived, or most of them anyway, and met lots of other musicians, and ended up in this band with some friends of mine, and we played everything from Rush, Prince, Michael Jackson. We played some 70s stuff too, like Jackie Blue, and some Billy Joel. And then we started getting more into the harder stuff like Ozzy. And so we played all the 80s stuff, and it was really cool because we would all dress up as a different musician. I was Rick Savage of Def Leppard, of course.
That's
you
awesome.
know,
Yeah.
one of my other major influences,
Uh,
and we had Tony Banks of Genesis, and we had Mike Reno of Loverboy was our singer. Everybody had a character, and we had this really cool guitar player. His name was Rio Wallace. He's actually played in he played in La Freak for a while, I think, but amazing guitar player. So we played all the 80s stuff, and people were going nuts over it because this was like early 90s. So people were going crazy over it. It was awesome. And we ended up co-headlining a couple of Bruce jams with Mingo Fish Trap. I don't know if anybody's familiar with them, but they're down in Austin. Major groove band. They're awesome. But yeah, I started really playing at that point and then graduated from college and had to start adulting. Wah, wah.
Wah,
And
wah.
yeah, wah, wah. And exactly, and I took a 15-year hiatus. I didn't play really for like 15 years, and started going out to see bands like Metal Shop and Dream On. And, it was one of those things where I don't know, it just was like, God, I really miss that. Oh my God, I miss it. And it so much so that, David was like, you really miss that, don't you? And I'm like, how can you tell? He's like, I can see it in your eyes. Every time we go see a band play, I can see it. And I'm like, really? It's like, yeah, you should go for it. And I'm like, yeah, I should go for it.
I mean, no doubt. I mean, that's one of the things. It's like with music. It's like it doesn't matter what age you are or what point you are in your life. You always have music, and you can do whatever it is that you want to do. Jump back in or just jam at home, whatever it is. It's like somebody told me a long time ago when I was when I was young and I was without a band for like 6 months, and I was panicked because it was the first time in my life that I was without a band. And I was just like, I felt like I wasn't a musician anymore. And they were like, April, you're always going to be a drummer, whether you have a band or not, you're always going to be a drummer. And I was like, that's really kind of deep, because you kind of feel like you're not a musician if you're not gigging sometimes. But it's really cool that you recognize that, hey, I can do this now. I mean, why not? And that you were kind of sounds like inspired by the other folks playing out on the scene to be like, why not, right? And so, because I remember, yeah, because I remember when you were coming out to Metal Shop, and we would get you up every now and then to play with us and stuff like that. I think that was before you were gigging out again, wasn't it?
That was actually when I actually had started gigging with the Rat tribute band Out of the Cellar. I was playing bass.
That's right. Yeah,
And that
yeah.
was my first kind of, I guess, re-entry. You had Jamie on last week.
Yep.
And
it's like bass month
Scott,
or something all of a sudden.
and and I love him. He is the most down to earth, sweet, humble guy, but he is, a beast on bass. I mean, I look up to him as a player because he's awesome. And the interesting thing is, I actually went to a Dream On show, and this was before Out of the Cellar. And I remember watching him play, and it's kind of like playing. Drummers have air drums, or guitars have air guitar. Well, there's air bass too.
Don't forget about air bass, people. Very important.
Don't forget about air bass.
Very important.
So I started, kind of like watching and grooving along, and so Jamie and I talked about that later. It's hilarious, but I thought, man, that dude is good. I mean, I could watch him play all night, because he's amazing. And so I remember us having a conversation. I said hello, and we had a brief conversation. And he said, initially when we were up on stage, I was wondering, he's like, wow, this chick's really into me or something. I don't know. She keeps staring at me. And he said, and then I saw you kind of doing the air bass thing. And it's like, oh, she probably plays. So he asked me, do you play? And I said, well, I used to. I used to be a bass player. And he's like, well, what do you mean used to? And so kind of to your point, what you were saying is, well, you still are. It's just, even if you don't have a bass in your hand. And he's like, you should play with us sometime. And I'm like, oh no, it's been 15 years since. No, I was kind of like, I haven't played in front of people in a long time. And he's like, so what's holding you back? I said, I don't know. Probably not a good answer. He's like, well, you seem really into it. So, you should think about that. You should come play a song with us sometime, and, go take a look at our set list. And I'm thinking, ruh-roh.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
So yeah, long story short, I found a song. It was Working for the Weekend by Loverboy, which the cover band I was in college, we played that. I'm like, I already know that song, and so I thought, okay, I'll play that. He said, all right, next time you come check us out, bring a bass with you, and yeah, you can get up there and play that. You can play 2 songs if you want. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I was sweating bullets, but I was, trying to play it cool. I was like, oh yeah, that'd be cool,
Yeah, I'm down. It's no problem.
yeah, it's no problem at all, and on the car ride home, I was telling David, I was like, oh my God,
What
yikes.
am
Man,
I
I
gonna
really,
do?
yeah, what am I gonna do? So I actually did it, and Jamie was like, "Hey, we'll play the song together." And he was standing behind me. It was so cool. He's like, "We're both gonna plug in. Both gonna jam, and we'll just go from there." I was like, "Okay." And he's behind me, and the cool thing, and I'll never ever forget this. So Jamie, if you're watching this, love you, man. I'll never forget this. I'm forever grateful for this. But he was behind me saying, and he was pushing me forward a little bit because I'm like way back by the drums. I don't want anybody looking at me. As girls, we're self-conscious.
Right,
And
right.
he was pushing me. He's like, pushing me, nudging me, and he's like, "You got it. Just keep smiling. You got this. You totally got it. You can do this." And he was just encouraging me the whole, while we're playing the song, and it was just, that encouragement that I started thinking, damn, man, I really do miss this. I really miss this. I need to, figure out a way to get back into it. And I didn't really know a lot of people, because David and I had just started going to shows again. And I remember we went to the House of Blues and saw a Metallica tribute called Kill 'Em All. And they're fantastic. And I remember I was on the front row, was head banging. I was like, oh my God. And I remember saying, man, it must be so cool to be playing up on that stage here at House of Blues where like a lot of our, idols have played. How cool would it be to do that? It'd be great if I could do that. And a year later, almost exactly a year later, April, I was up there with Out of the Cellar.
Isn't that crazy, man? That's so crazy. I mean,
Book it into existence,
yeah, yeah. No, that's awesome. I mean, it
Yeah,
just goes to show that, like, whenever you work towards something, you can get whatever it is that you want, and
yep.
to be able to do that is awesome. I remember, I think we did a show with you guys at House of Blues one time, didn't we? With Out of the Cellar. I don't remember if you were in the band or it might have been a different rat
It
tribute
might have
band.
might have been a different band.
Yeah,
Yeah, it might have been a different one
gotcha.
back then.
Yeah,
Um, Yeah, I think it was a different one. There's been so many shows, right?
right.
So many years, they fly by.
Yeah.
Battle Axe played House of Blues, and let's
Oh
see who
yeah,
else.
you played with
Red
us that
Rockers.
night. You played
Yeah,
with us in Battle
it was Battle
Axe.
Axe.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
cool.
Yeah.
I
That was
remember.
kind of like full circle moment for me because I'm like, man, I remember watching them all those years playing. Now here
Yeah,
I'm up here. Wow, full circle moment.
totally. So Out of the Cellar kind of brought you out of the cellar, so to speak. Kind of brought you back out to start gigging again, but then it just seemed
Yeah.
like you kind of had a lot of opportunities come all at once. It felt like
Yeah.
the tribute scene is so hot in Dallas.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of opportunity there. And so, which was the next one after Out of the Cellar that you got into?
So, yeah, Out of the Cellar has opened up a lot of doors for me, because there were a lot of people at that show that are in the bands that I've been in since then that saw me at that show, because at that time nobody knew who I was. Everybody's like, who is that girl? So the Red Rockers came next. They hit me up and said, hey, you're the bass player for the Cellar. We saw your show. We need a bass player. We're doing a Sammy Hagar thing. We're going to be playing all eras of Sammy Hagar. I'm like, oh, dude, I love Sammy Hagar. Are you kidding me? And they're like, yeah, well, we're going to do Montrose and Van Hagar and, everything in between his solo stuff. And I'm like, man, that's right up my alley. I would love to do that. So that was my next project. And then after that came Godsmack tribute, but we spell it GAWDSMAK.
Yep.
So
So
it
that can
sounds
be
the same, but it's
that's
spelled different.
that's confusing because I was said earlier before you joined, I was like, yeah, Kim's gonna be on the show from Battle Axe, Godsmack, and Red Rockers. I was like, oh, it's Godsmack GAUD, like, because I was thinking people out there might be like, whoa, the bass player for Godsmack is on. It's like, well, yeah, she is. It's just spelled slightly
Yeah,
different. That's all.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, and so the Red Rockers, the Sammy Hagar tribute, which I'm still doing, and Godsmack I'm also still doing, and then let's see, there was, whew, Holy Diver briefly, and I'm trying to think.
That would be a tribute to Dio, right?
Legacy, yeah,
Uh-huh.
Legacy briefly. And then I did some sub work with Rough Justice,
Cool.
which is Scott Bond's band. Did that with, gosh, at that time it was Pino and Bobby and, Pino Garcia, Bobby Michaelides, myself, Scott Bond, um, uh, 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 Dunnigan. Um, I'm trying to think who
I
else.
don't think I knew about.
Oh,
I don't think I knew about that
I
band.
yeah, they have a lot of original tunes, and I
Mhm.
subbed for their bass player, who was gracious, in recommending me to sub for him whenever he wasn't available. So that was really cool getting to do that. They've actually played Rocklahoma, and they had some great original tunes. And
Yeah.
I know that that has since morphed into another band now, but that was a lot of fun. And I'm trying to think what else I've done. Uh, Gosh, I think that's. Oh, and then there was Eternia. Eternia was a all originals rock and metal band. Harley Sharrock was in that, and tapped me on the shoulder and asked me if I wanted to do that. So that was a 3 piece, and so we were working on an EP, and I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't even stepped into Battle Axe, which is a really cool thing that we definitely want to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Our director of sponsorship and corporate relations for Breast Cancer Could Stick It is the drummer for that band, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
this is something. Battle Axe is something that you came up with, I think, all on your own, right? You decided you wanted to form an '80s rock cover band of all women. And
Yes.
so, which was very needed in the Dallas Fort Worth area. There's just not any really, I mean, maybe I'm not thinking of somebody, but all girl bands playing, 80s rock music, cover tunes. So tell everybody how that came up and what inspired you to do that.
Well, I have always been, a fan of Joan Jett, Susie Quattro, Kim Deal, other female musicians. And, coming from a time when that was a rarity, it's not so much the case now. I remember seeing the band Taste of Honey, and, seeing them play and seeing Tina Turner sing. And, it was just kind of one of those things where there weren't a lot of women that were playing instruments. Whenever a woman would say she was a musician or in a band, you assumed that she was a singer. And I thought, man, we're the female players, And now, that's all changed now. But back in the '80s, you didn't really see a lot of that. But being in the bands that I've been in, I've always been the only female, with the exception of my first band. But I've always been the only female.
Yeah,
Which doesn't bother me because
yeah,
I'm a tomboy, and all the guys in my band, in the bands that I'm in, treat me like one of the
yeah,
guys, and they're respectful, and we hang out, we have a good time, and it's no different than any other. It's not
yeah.
like our female bass player. It's like our bass players,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. You and I are similar
And
in
you know
that.
what that's
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
I'm always in bands with guys too. I've only can
yeah.
think of two bands I've ever been in that had women in it other than me.
Hmm.
So yeah, you just get kind of used to it. There's just
Yeah,
a male dominated sport is what I like to say.
yeah.
But it's
I like
fine,
that.
I mean, because like you said, they've always treated me with full respect, just like as a band member. I mean, Shannon calls
Yeah,
me, "Hey drummer," So I mean,
yeah.
I'm just drummer. I'm not chick drummer. Anyway, continue.
Yeah,
I
I
love
answered a
this. Yeah.
hey dude. I've been, hey
What's up,
dude.
dude?
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, man? Cool.
But it's something that I had been thinking about for a while, actually. And having been the bass player and the band member, I thought, come up with something. Then it's like, you kind of have to, you have to, what is it? It's like you have to catch the fish, clean the fish, all that, right? All the stages. And so I thought, am I ready for something like that? And I thought, DFW is lacking. And I think it's time, because you had bands like the Iron Maidens coming to town. You had other, female dominated bands. There was a Led Zeppelin tribute, but they're all, from LA. They're from other places, right?
Yeah,
And I
like
thought,
yeah,
well, we don't have
Paradise
one
Kitty.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I'm
yeah.
like, we don't have that here. What's up? So I'm like, well, okay, let's just put a call out and see if we can make that happen. And so Battle Axe was born, and recruited my bandmates, and it's all of us now, and the cool thing about it is, everybody's got, an equal voice in the band, and everybody contributes, and it's great. And I appreciate the musicianship that we all bring, and it's nice, and so I initially wanted to do an all female tribute to one band, and then I thought, well, I really want it to be more versatile than that, to really showcase, more of the music, right? So I thought, okay, let's do a rock and metal, and have it be all women and do it that way. And so Battle Axe came about because of the fact that, women are sometimes called battle axes, right? And so I
I
thought,
love that. I love
the
that.
whole thing. I thought
Uh-huh.
that was really cool. And so, that came about, and, came up with the logo and everything. And, I tapped Colleen on the shoulder, because Colleen and I actually were, hoping to put a project together several years ago. And, we've been friends for a long time. And so I hit her up and said, hey, not taking no for an answer. It's time.
It's
Let's
now,
make
baby.
something happen,
Yeah, totally.
She's a great guitar player. And so, Colleen, was like, yeah, heck yeah, let's make that happen. And so, Colleen and I got together, and then you were not available.
I have a couple things going on.
Yeah, you're kind of busy. And then I was like, who is just as amazing as April? And I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know,
Oh, hey Kim, if you can hear me, you accidentally hit mute.
all
There we
right.
go. You're
Sorry
back. You're
about
right. You're
that.
right. You're right. Go ahead.
Okay. So who is just as amazing as April? Michelle. Hello. I was like, oh my gosh, if she'll do it. And she said yes.
She's the bomb, man,
And
and she's a great
she
person,
is.
friend. She's an amazing person.
She really is. And we needed a singer. I was like, I'm not singing. I don't want to do it. I want to play bass, And so I got I put out some feelers and got some recommendations. And Caitlin came highly recommended from several people. And she, came out and blew the doors off. And we were like, gig's yours if you want it.
Dude, and Caitlin's amazing. So
She
amazing. And
is.
she has so much talent for someone so young, in my mind. She's very
She
young
does.
compared to me anyway. And so but yeah, she slays. I mean, and the thing is when you guys put together Battle Axe, I was like, man, there's a lot of female singers around.
Mhm.
Um and a handful, like a small handful of bassists and drummers, but to be honest, there's just not a lot of female guitarists. There's a lot of female
No.
rhythm guitarists,
Yeah.
there that I can think of. Missy
Mhm.
St. Thomas. Actually, Miss St. Thomas could shred on guitar for all I know. I've seen we play the same night, so I've never actually seen her play. I've seen her hold a guitar online.
Yeah.
So I figured, and I know they have another guitar player, so I just assume since she doesn't play all the time, she's not the lead guitar player. And then, oh my gosh, what's her name? Casey, I think.
Kelly.
Casey from
Ke-
Even It
Oh,
Up. I think her name is
yes.
Casey.
Yes.
Kill
Casey
me.
from Even It
Yeah.
Up. She plays.
Yeah, but I don't think she's a lead. I don't think she's a lead guitar player. Like I just can't think
Yeah.
of like any other women than who you have in your band that are like, okay, I'm ready for my solo. You know what I mean?
It was
And
a
it's
challenge.
yeah, it's like
Yeah, it
there's
was. It
just
was a
not a
challenge
lot.
because it's like who and I'll tell you, and Kelly. Oh my gosh, Kelly's amazing too. And it's funny because initially, I was thinking, okay, one guitarist, and I thought, well, wait a minute. A lot of the songs that we're going to play, the bands, that we're, you know, playing homage to, they have two guitar players, and so why not have two guitarists, right? Went to a Grohl show and saw Kelly, and I was just like, oh my God, wow. And I thought, okay, Grohl, they're paying tribute to the Foo Fighters, right? And I thought, I don't know if she's going to be into, what we want to do, but you know what? Why not? I'm just going to ask her because she can sing. Because there's going to be some harmonies required, right? So she was singing lead vocals and playing guitar. So I thought, okay, well, if she's interested, that would pretty much round things out. So I hit her up and had a phone conversation and talked to her about Battle Axe, and she's like, "Oh my god, that is so in my wheelhouse. I love 80s music. Are you kidding me?" And I was like, "Oh,
And
the
she's
planets have aligned."
yeah, and she's like so energetic and fun to watch too. I mean, she's
Yeah.
the whole package, and again, another fantastic person and
Yes.
and talent. So wow, that's
Mm-hmm.
awesome. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
so right now, Battle Axe is kind of on hiatus until this
Mm-hmm.
pandemic stuff kind of chills out.
Yeah.
And I know we were
Exactly.
talking about it last night, and the only gigs that you've played, you just played a small handful of outdoor shows. Do you guys have plans for later this year, or are you kind of waiting it out right now before you start scheduling anything, or do you have anything scheduled later this year for Battle
Yeah.
Axe?
With not for Battle Axe, not yet. I think we're kind of just waiting it out,
Sure. Yeah.
to see how things play out, and when things are safer, whatnot. So Battle Axe hasn't gone anywhere. Everybody's thinking, where's Battle Axe? Are y'all still together? We're still together. It's just with the pandemic, like a lot of bands, we're just kind of laying low for now and staying safe.
Yeah, and I think that's totally understandable. I mean, shoot, we talked about it a few times that that's what I'm doing, and so
Yeah.
fortunately, I got to give a shout out to Paul Brown for covering my gigs for the past like 6 months. He's amazing, so I'm
Oh, he's great.
very blessed to have him covering my butt when I can't play. But and you are doing shows though with Godsmack. I
Hmm.
know. Do you have anything coming up that you want to tell everybody about Godsmack shows and Red Rockers?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So Godsmack has a show on April 10th. It is a Saturday, and that's at Gas Monkey Bar and Grill. There's a couple other bands on the bill as well. So we'll be playing that show. So I'm excited about that. Love playing Godsmack's music. And so, yeah, I've got that gig coming up. And I think, let's see, Red Rockers, we've got something brewing for June. And that's really it for now. I'm pretty sure things are already starting to, get popping from what I've heard from some friends that are in other bands saying, hey, now that things are open back up, it's going to start getting busy again. They're already getting, requests for bookings and stuff like that. So I have a feeling, within the next week or two, things are really going to start popping on. And I've seen it on Facebook already where shows are being announced. So yeah, until then, going to try to get out and support, safely, of course. Um, let's see. I know Christy Johnson has a show, her band, Ever the Essence. I'm excited about that because I've been wanting
Oh
to check
no, I
out. She's
can't
an
wait to.
amazing vocalist.
Yeah, I can't wait to see
I
that
want to see
too.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're jamming with Creed. So the guys that are a couple of the guys that are in Godsmack are in the Creed tribute. So definitely got to support my brothers. And let's see, I'm in the process of confirming. I've been doing the Tina Turner appearance with Summer '69 as Tina singing "It's Only Love" with them. So there's something coming up, I think, for the end of this month. I think that might be, I'm trying to remember the date because we were just talking about that. They're going to be playing at the Rustic coming up later this month. So that show's coming up. And I think that's it for now. Yeah. I'm
Very-
sure there'll be more.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
mean,
yeah, it's great being Tina.
yeah, I bet that's so fun. I've just seen the photos. I haven't been able to catch a show yet. But I'm hoping, maybe this summer or something to start
Yeah.
seeing everybody out again. I try to catch all the live feeds. We would set up like a sheet up against the fence in the backyard, and
Oh, how
we
fun.
bought like a projector, and so we just project Facebook live feeds onto the fence and just chill out in the backyard, eating some popcorn, laying on the air mattress or whatever, hammock, whatever we want to do, watching some
Nice.
live feeds and enjoying some friends' music. So especially when Lava Cantina was doing all those live feeds, the really awesome HD ones,
Yeah,
that was really really cool. But yeah, you're right. I
that
mean, I
was.
know that Lava Cantina, Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, they're all should be opening up here soon. and
Mhm.
going back to normal, so to speak, new normal, whatever that looks like for them. So hopefully the gigs are going to start coming in, and hopefully everybody, we're going to be able to stay safe and get back out gigging again.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be great to have that sense of normalcy back, and I'm really grateful to everybody in the bands that I'm in. The ones that called me up and said, "Hey, we've got the slot, and we'd like for you to be a part of it," and for the ladies that wanted to be a part of Battle Axe, and bands like Dream On that have had me on, up on stage to jam a tune. Metal Shop to have me on stage to jam a tune or two. Summer of '69 have me up, and the bands that have had me sub, like Rough Justice, everybody, it's like a family. And that's what I really enjoy. Music brings people together and allows us to exude, sorry about that, exude the energy that, we all get from the people that inspired us, and we get to give that back. And it's just, such an honor and a privilege, and just so much fun to be able to be fortunate enough and blessed enough to share that. And so I definitely um appreciate that, and I've
Yeah.
gotten to meet great people like you.
Right back at you. I'm so glad that we got to know each other and have become friends. And it's always good to have a female adversary out there, because you just kind of, when you're in the music scene and you have all your guy friends and everything, that's awesome. But there's some aspects of it that you kind of have to look at a little bit different as a woman. And so to have someone like you or Christy Johnson to kind of tag team with, I know Christy Johnson and my thing is to complain about, bathrooms and San Antonio bars and stuff. The ladies' rooms were like, dude, the ladies' room here is awful. What's happening?
There's nowhere to change.
Yeah. See, you can't explain that really to a guy because it's just not the same. They don't view it the same way. It's
No, they don't. And you know
important
what,
conversations.
Christy? Yeah, and Christy was nice enough to ask me when she had her No Doubt tribute to come up and do a duet that
Oh,
Gwen
that's
Stefani and Eve
uh-huh.
do, and and so that was a lot of fun, and I don't know, just all the different opportunities. I mean, I just feel deeply humbled by all of them, that people said, "Hey, would you you know do us the honor of this or whatnot." And I'm like, of course. I've been up with Def Legend and got to play a Def Leppard song. I mean, it was
Yay.
just
Yeah.
awesome. And who else? Rockaholics. Yes,
Yeah.
Rockaholics. Shannon's my brother from another mother,
Yes.
and just things like that, Jay Shannon and I are great friends, and just there's so many people. I mean, there's a long list of names, and I just appreciate everybody, because I'm getting to do what I love to do, and that's play music.
Absolutely, man. Well, I'm really glad you could join the show tonight. And one of the things I want to be sure and thank you, Kim, is you've been so supportive of Breast Cancer Can Stick It since day one. I remember like one of the first fundraisers that we did at Wizards. You like bought these pair of Chucks, and you're like, "Hey, I'm gonna bling these out, and we can auction them," and blah blah blah. And we did that. You've helped kind of like co-MC some things along the way, and you helped out. I remember in Corpus Christi and it did some stunt emceeing down there, as I recall. And just you just always been so supportive, and I just really want you to know how much we appreciate that here, and it means so much to me, my friend. Really,
Hey, not a problem at all. You do so much, for the breast cancer research and the survivors, and everything that you do. And it's my pleasure, April.
thank you, my
My
friend.
pleasure.
I'm so glad
Yeah.
that you could come on the show tonight, and we'll be sure and put this up on our YouTube channel in a couple of weeks. But check it out there, and we'll share it with everybody. And of course, you can watch the replay. And everybody, April 10th, Gas Monkey Bar and Grill, and it's Godsmack that night, right? So everybody plan to go to that, and we'll just keep our eyes peeled for more from Kim Lusk out there, okay?
Woohoo!
Girl, we love you
Rock
so much.
on.
You take care and have a great night. Thanks again for joining.
Hey, thanks, April. Everybody have a good night.
Take care, girl. Bye.
All right, bye.
All right, everybody. That's Kim Lusk, man. Rock star. So busy. 3 bands: Battle Axe, Godsmack,